Facebook Marketplace is among the most popular places in the U.S. to shop online for used vehicles, with more than 20 million people clicking on vehicle listings every month. List your used cars for free and reach people where they're already shopping for vehicles. Get started at fb.me/NIADA-MP. I'm Stacy King, and welcome to Automotive Industry News. In this week's edition, we'll take an in-depth look at the federal government's Paycheck Protection Program, a COVID-19 relief program that has had a huge impact on the independent dealers and other small businesses. But first, a quick update of what's happening around the auto industry. The economic recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic began in earnest last month. The Commerce Department's latest report showed retail sales rose a staggering 17.7% in May, the largest monthly increase in history, as businesses opened and shoppers returned in droves after 2 months of lockdown. One analyst called the buying frenzy, which more than doubled economists' projections, pent-up demand unleashed in 1 month. The automotive sector, especially used cars, played a big role in that increase. Sales soared and prices stabilized as the used vehicle market's recovery hit full stride in May. An analyst said that was just the beginning. The recovery was led by certified pre-owned sales, which rose 87% from April's total. In late March, Congress passed the CARES Act, a massive COVID-19 relief package that created the Small Business Administration's Paycheck Protection Program. The program offers loans to small businesses, including independent dealerships, that can be forgiven if the businesses meet certain conditions. Almost $660 million have been allocated to fund those loans. This month, Congress made changes to the PPP, extending the amount of time dealers have to use the money and relaxing some of the conditions for loan forgiveness. NIADA has been actively involved in working with Congress and the administration on COVID relief legislation, including the bill that spawned the PPP. CEO Steve Jordan and Senior Vice President of Legal and Government Affairs Sean Peterson are here to discuss the program, the recent changes to it, and NIADA's role in all of it.
Back in March, when the president issued the declaration of emergency and the pandemic essentially started, the NIADA made the strategic decision to focus on two priorities. Number one, making sure that dealers were recognized as essential businesses. NIADA worked really hard with the White House and the Department of Homeland Security to make sure that automotive dealers and retail sales were also considered to be essential business. The second priority was making sure that dealers understood how they could get access to federal funding made available through the CARES Act. We created a COVID-19 resource page. We also issued a series of webinars on how the PPP loans worked, how you could turn them into grants. Sean, talk a little bit about forgiveness and some of the impacts that it's having on how dealers can keep as much money from the federal government as possible.
So we went to work on your behalf with members of Congress to get some tweaks that made it easier for those loans to be forgiven. We felt like dealers needed more time to spend that money. Forgiveness is going to be based off of how that money is spent. 75% of all of your PPP funds had to be used on payroll expenses.
And the other 25% on operational stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we went to work to get that formula changed to 60-40, which passed here in recent legislation. The SBA gave us some great news that said there's $130 billion, give or take, left in that PPP fund, and June 30 is the deadline. So if you haven't taken advantage of the PPP opportunity, the application process is very easy. You can go to the COVID-19 dealer resource page, find a lender that's approved to issue those loans in your area, search by zip code. You can get approved, then you have it to the end of the year or 24 weeks to spend that money.
We have a texting platform, text NIADA to 95,000, and we'll add your cell phone to that growing group of independent dealers so that you can stay on top of the latest breaking news. If you have any questions, reach out to us at NIADA or talk to your state associations. We're here to help you. We'll look forward to talking to you soon.
Thank you, Steve and Sean. Dealers across the country have all sorts of questions about the PPP. What do I need to know about it, and how can I make it work best for me? David Wiggins of financial and accounting firm CLA has been working with dealers to navigate the uncertain economic climate, and he joins us now to help answer those questions. I'm Stacey King, and I'm here with David Wiggins, a principal specializing in dealerships at financial and accounting firm CLA. David has been a key participant in the recent NIADA and CLA webinar series. Thank you for joining us today, David.
Oh, thank you very much. Glad to be here.
How valuable has the Paycheck Protection Program been for dealers, and what do you think the industry would have looked like without it?
That's a good question. I mean, I think it's been invaluable. People know me, I can be heard criticizing government and some of the moves they make and tax laws and that kind of thing. But I think this program, I mean, obviously there were a lot of hiccups with it, but I think they did a pretty nice job. And if they had not, what it did more than anything was, when this thing started, people kind of forget now, but when it started, nobody had any idea how deep or, dire this thing was going to get. And I think it gave people some peace of mind. They knew there was a chance to get this money. Everybody was a little suspicious of whether they'd really get it, but ultimately they did. It allowed people to kind of get the money and know that, they had like a lifeline to at least get them through, at least the really uncertain part. And I think it's wound up. It's done just that. I think now people are a little bit more comfortable with it. And it really helped.
What kinds of things have dealers been able to do, short-term and long-term, that would have been difficult or impossible without the Paycheck Protection Program?
There were some bigger people that did not qualify for PPP that we could kind of look at. And there was so much uncertainty. I mean, some of them went to massive layoffs. Some people shut down. I know a couple, they even just shut their doors immediately without knowing where things were. And I think it kept that from happening. And I think that was a huge part. Once they got it, then they were able to keep employees on. Some people, were able to kind of do some work on their facility. Some people were able to figure out how to do business in a different way. And I think it gave people the ability to do that without sort of the panic factor.
How can dealers best take advantage of these loans?
I think as far as the loans go, the best thing they can do is look at, keeping their employees on, and especially ones, if you look at most dealerships, they've got, say 30 people, kind of an average dealership. And there's 10 or 15 people that really make everything go. And it gave them the ability to keep them on regardless of the situation. It's good for the industry. I think the industry is going to come out stronger. I think a lot of dealers it's just proven how strong dealers are.
And can we expect you to be joining us in Vegas for the convention?
Definitely. Wouldn't miss it, never do. So looking forward to it and look forward to getting out and just kind of being normal and having a soda with a few clients.
Perfect. Well, we'll see you in September.
All right. Thank you, Stacy.
We'll return with more automotive industry news in just a moment.
Welcome to the show, back in Las Vegas. Just no place like it, right?
We have assembled the auto industry's best and brightest minds, thought leaders, and experts to help you achieve your goals and fuel your purpose.
I believe you have to show up, and I believe you have to soak up, and then take everything you've learned and put it to some good use.
In an age-old industry, recognizing a group of individuals who made the decision and the commitment to go farther and get there faster. The sheer velocity of their work is a worthy reason for us to be here tonight.
Nobody knows about the effect of the PPP on independent dealers better than themselves. So let's talk to some dealers around the nation about what they're seeing on the front lines. Hi, I'm Stacy King with NIADA, and I'm here with Darryl Jackson from AMS Auto Group to talk about the Paycheck Protection Program. Darryl, thank you for joining us. How has the Paycheck Protection Program loan helped your operation?
So, Stacy, I tell you, initially when this pandemic came about us, it was such a surprise, and things were kind of going along okay. Then all of a sudden, we were ordered to shut down. Being ordered to shut down, at least in the county of Mecklenburg, which is in Charlotte, we were not able to open because we were not considered to be an essential business. So we actually made an appeal through CIADA and some of the other organizations that car dealerships were essential. And so about 2 weeks later, we were able to open up. But in the meantime, I had to make some serious decisions about, how we were going to deal with the slowdown in business. With that, I shut down one of my stores, I have 3 retail stores and a operations center and a finance center. And we cut our hours back for our hourly employees by 2 hours per day, which was 10 hours a week. Well, eventually we applied for the PPP loan, and we were able to get that through Pinnacle Bank, which is a regional bank based out of Nashville, and they have local offices here in Charlotte. They were very, very helpful in us being able to get that loan, and very pretty easy process. And so with that, we were able to sustain through this process, and still sustaining ourselves through this process. And we actually never laid off any employees, and we were able to keep our employees on staff. So we were very, very thankful that we were able to achieve that and to keep our business going. I would make a very, very urgent plea to our dealer base all over the country to really consider accessing the PPP loan. Without small dealers like us and all of the people that we employ, just imagine what we do to the economy when we're operating the way we should. Don't be afraid to go ask. I really urge you to apply before the deadline, which is June the 30th.
Perfect. Darryl, well, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate all of your time and information.
Thank you very much, Stacy.
Hi, I'm Stacy King, and I'm here with Piere Abiramia of Milford Auto Mall and the president of the Massachusetts IADA. Piere, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
How has the Paycheck Protection Program loan helped your operation?
Actually, I was able to keep all my staff on payroll during that time, and we did pay one monthly rent out of that PPP loan that we got. And once we basically finished up with all the funds, we were lucky that our state was opening up. And by opening back up, I had everybody on board right away.
Oh, that's amazing. Were you forced to cut employee hours at all?
No, not at all.
What would have happened to your dealership without the Paycheck Protection Program, and what has it allowed you to do that might not have been possible otherwise?
I'm sure I would have probably had to lay off or furlough some of the employees. Being back to work, it would have been tough to basically find help nowadays, and especially good help that you know that you can trust and you can count on. Mm-hmm. So we were able to get back and hit the ground running.
Have you seen a return of customers or an increase of sales in the last few weeks?
In the past couple of weeks, yes, definitely. Okay. It's been pretty good. Actually, I was very thankful for the National Independent Automobile Dealer Association for staying on top of things, basically keeping all the members up to date with everything, day to day, hour by hour. They kept us on the loop on everything. So that's very helpful to us as a small business to basically be able to stay connected to all the changes and times like that.
Oh, perfect. I'm glad you were able to take advantage of all that. We appreciate that. So thank you. Piere, thank you again for joining us today. And one last question, can we expect to see you in Vegas for the 2020 convention?
Definitely. I will be there in Vegas.
Awesome. Well, we'll see you in September.
We'll see you then.
Thanks to our dealers for sharing their insight. To dealers who haven't yet applied for a PPP loan, it's not too late. There's still $130 million left to be distributed, but time is running out. The deadline for applications is coming up, June 30th, so don't wait. For complete information about the program, including how to apply and a list of eligible lenders, visit our COVID-19 resource page at covid19.niada.com and click on SBA lending programs. Thanks for watching this edition of Automotive Industry News. I'm Stacy King.